Yeah, so Mamadou Dieng, he was signed by Hartford ahead of the 2023 season. I think he was 19, or maybe just turned 20 when he was signed. And he was a little bit of a kind of an unknown. He'd never played in a professional league before that. He had some academy time. He'd been kicking around various places. And he got a little bit of buzz in the preseason last year, scored a couple of goals. Um, but was sort of like, who knows? Who knows when this guy is going to be ready or if he's going to be anything. And then he had to start our second game of the year last year. Mario Williams came into the season as number 9, and then he goes on international duty with Jamaica. Momo has to step in the game against Birmingham, and he probably should have had a hat trick in that game. Like he had the opportunities, but in watching him, it was all the other stuff that he did. He did everything that you want from a number 9. His ground coverage, the way he pressed, his intelligence. And I was just watching. I was like, this guy is ready. He's ready to play in this league, and he's probably ready to play in another league. He just has all of these tools. He just needs a stage. And it took half a season for him to really get on the pitch and get the minutes. And when he did, he was, as good as any forward in the USL over the back half of last season. When you get under the hood with the numbers, yeah, I think he might even have been better than Nick Marcanic, and Marcanic was the Golden Boot winner, right? Record-setting goal scorer. And then it came into this season, and he sort of looked like he'd taken a step back, right? We were talking about the U.S. Open Cup game, and he probably should have scored 2 in regulation in that game, and put it to bed, right? And denied Portland that great moment, and he was back to that profligacy, right? He wasn't scoring, he was putting the ball wide, and it just looked like he had just completely regressed. And then I don't know, the weather warmed up, and so did he, and he got hot again, and the buzz there had been in the offseason that he might be on the move was back. And every time I talked to Brendan Berg, he was saying, like, it's going to coming soon. It's coming soon. People are calling. MLS is calling. Europe is calling. And he's gone to Minnesota United now. It was announced right after the Jägermeister Cup game last week. He scores in that game. He's wearing captain's armband. Obviously, everybody knew. Everybody in the club knew he was going, right? The ink was probably still wet on the paper. And it gets broken Thursday morning that he's leaving for a pretty good deal. Rumor, kind of putting it over 300,000 initially and a pretty substantial sell-on fee. If they can do what they did with Tani Oluwasi, then that's a good deal for Hartford. Um, but the back half of that, right? It's great for the player, right? He's clearly ready for what's next. Hartford can't support whatever he needs to develop next. I don't. Maybe Louisville City could, but like no team in the championship really is going to be able to support what a player like that needs for more development. So it's great for him to move on, to what's next.